it always kind of puts into perspective my particular job and what I do, and when my worst problem in the world is a very, very bad episode of Impact, and it is bad. But when I get a private message from a fan saying that they're currently in Chile right now, and their country has just withstood an 8.8 magnitude earthquake, and they are scared shitless, that is an amazing, breathtaking thing to consider. I've never seen an earthquake. I mean, I've seen it on TV. I've seen the thing in the earthquake in Haiti, and I don't think it was an 8.8, but my God, I mean, it brought that country to its knees. It killed thousands. And the thing in Chile, like 8.8. It must feel like the world is ending, like all around you. I mean, the whole place is shaking apart. You don't know what's going on. You don't know who's alive, who's dead, and man, and they're worried about. They write me and they say like, just some word of support. At least I can do, man. That's about all I can do. That's amazing. So yeah, I mean, all my best wishes and thoughts go to the people of Chile, Haiti right now, and it even sounds silly coming out of my mouth, like saying like, I wish you guys the best. Me in Arizona, who has comparatively never had a problem that bad, and who was about to launch into a long-winded, rambling tirade against a fucking wrestling program, but there you have it. I mean, I guess that's what I do, is I can try to provide a little escapism for you guys, and so I will do that. I wasn't going to do this video originally, partially because I have so much to do. I'm not saying that like this is unimportant, like doing vlogs is unimportant, but I would rather do like reviews than vlogs. But man, television this bad almost deserves to be exposed. I think for so many weeks, like you kind of watch Impact and you go, that was some of the worst TV I've ever seen in my life. And then you just go, well, everyone kind of knows that, and you just kind of ignore it, and if you're a wrestling fan, you just ignore it, and you think, like, I'm constantly surprised that Impact is still on the air, constantly. And I'll probably go into this more as I watch the show, but I'm about an hour into this show, and I'm sitting there watching, and I realize I have been punching myself in the head, like closed fist, like worse than facepalm. I'm like just knuckling myself in the face because I can't believe how bad this show is, how intensely, aggressively stupid this show is. And then Haiti is shaking down, or, Chile is shaking to the ground. And I shouldn't be laughing. So, yeah, a lot of conflicted feelings right now. I got sidetracked. Anyway, I will talk about wrestling right now. And I wasn't sure how to discuss this. And it occurred to me as I'm sitting in my chair trying to do serious work. Impact is on in the background. I'm not even really watching Impact. And the stupidity radiating from the TV at me. I'm not even focusing on the stuff. I'm picking out plot holes. I'm picking out like characterization problems. And I'm twittering about this, and I'm probably spamming the shit out of your Twitter pages. I'm sorry. It's just like every time Matt Stryker says the stupidest thing he's ever said, far stupider than everything else he's ever said, I have to Twitter about it just because it's like it's amazing. And yet I bitch about WWE, SmackDown, Raw, NXT. The worst of that is not nearly as bad as Impact is on a regular basis. And I'm watching Impact, and I'm going, this is the worst TV I've ever seen. And this is a fairly average episode of Impact. When I see a truly bad episode of Impact, I'm going to come back to this, but everything I describe to you from now on, this is average for Impact. The last Impact I discussed when Hulk Hogan debuted was a very, very good episode of Impact. And it was still worse than the worst SmackDown ever. So when I discuss bad wrestling and I discuss bad Impact, here is wrestling, okay, this level. The best Impact in history. It's so bad. So, what I'm going to do is I will probably try to leave the camera on. Well, I'm going to watch Impact again, okay? I'm going to turn it on my TV, which is right behind this camera, okay? And every time something noteworthy comes up, something stupid, I will stop Impact, I will run the tape, and I will tell you exactly what's doing. I can't actually show you the show for various copyrights. I might show you clips. That might be okay, but I'll run it down for you, and I will try not to go over long on this, and just I will try to give you like time codes so you can kind of accompany what's going on. I'll try. So maybe if you have Impact taped or something, you can maybe follow along. But I will try to go over what's happening. And trust me, you don't want to see this Impact. I'm amazed people want to see me discuss Impact. Maybe it's like I watch it so you don't have to. I hope that's the case because maybe you watched Impact and you need like some catharsis or something like that. Like I hope I can give that. I hope that like the people in Chile who are watching this who have never seen an episode of Impact in their lives. They watch me freaking the hell out over Impact, and they get some peace. That's all I can do. You know what? The other thing I can do is if I hear about any kind of relief efforts, like Red Cross efforts or something like that, donations, I will put that on the end of this video if I can, or like a little text note. That is the least I can do. Oh man, I really don't want to see this show again. I watched 71 minutes. I know, because the PVR stopped at 71 minutes of this fucking show. It was the worst TV ever. I don't want to see it. I feel like the family in Paranormal Activity when like all shit is already broken loose and like suck the bitch through the door, and they're like, we really don't want to go to sleep tonight. I don't want to do this. I might die. I will try to leave the camera on as much as possible. I'm going to try to edit it down so like it only gets the parts where I'm talking. But here we go. I'm going to start Impact right now. And, I haven't seen last week's Impact. So I'm going to be so in the dark because Impact is very, very bad about recapping what happened last week, last month. It just kind of goes. Like, if it was like 24, you missed last week, you fucked, man. So Impact, I'm so in the dark. I know that Jeff Jarrett has this thing where he's apparently starting at the bottom of the company because like he was a majority shareholder or something like that now, but because he's not, they can make him wrestle. And like Mick Foley for some reason hasn't quit maybe I think it's because like they're threatening Mick Foley they're going to fire Abyss if Mick Foley quits. Which I'm fairly sure is not a legal business practice and you can sue the company for, but there I go bringing logic into the argument again. But Mick Foley is being forced to kind of work. I don't know. I'll try to recap it. So here we go. Let me stop the tape here. Okay, 45 seconds in. I did watch some of Impact because somebody showed me this clip online. They emailed me this clip, and they were like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. And it was. Okay. It opens up, and Chris Abyss, because that's his name, is talking to the other guys in the locker room, and he's like, Hulk Hogan gave me this ring. I feel the power of the Hulkamaniacs. Okay, what happened last week was, like, Abyss has become this total gibbering wreck. Like, he's become this complete pussy, and so Hulk Hogan brings him back to to his office, and he's like, brother. He's like, no more of this pussy stuff, brother. He's like, I'm going to give you my most treasured possession, dude. He's like, this is my WWE Hall of Fame ring, brother. And I want you to wear this ring. And from this point on, dude, it's going to give you all the power of the Hulkamaniacs. It's going to give you the power. You are going to be the god of wrestling. And I'm not making that up. I swear I'm not. He says, take this magic ring. It's got powers, brother. And you're going to put this on your hand, and you're going to be the god of wrestling. So Abyss does. And he's like, I feel it. I feel the power of Hulkamania. And he runs off. And he's like, I'm going to hear you scream, brother. I want you to show me your war face. And Abyss is like, ah! And he runs off like, I feel the power. And he runs off. This is actually a storyline. Hulk Hogan gave Abyss his WWE Hall of Fame ring. Said it would give him magic powers. He said it was his most treasured possession. The one thing that never left him, never abandoned him, never lied to him. It's over his kids, over his wife. It was the one thing. And he, Abyss, here you go. Abyss. Gives a shit about Abyss. He could have given him Abyss is a Hulk Lantern now. He has the power of Hulkamania. And you know what? Seriously, they're going to go forward. This ring is going to give him magic powers. It is. It already has. This is so amazingly stupid. I don't even know where to start with this thing. Okay. I was going to say something. By the way, I don't know why it is, but Jay Lethal, with this black machismo thing, basically, they discovered a while back that Jay Lethal does a really good Macho Man Randy Savage impression, and that's become his gimmick. And that's been his gimmick for what? 3, 4 years? Seriously, his whole gimmick is that he rips off the Macho Man. How hollow is that when you don't have your own gimmick? It'd be if they brought me. No, it's worse because if they just had me be do your Ultimate Warrior thing on WWF TV and just run around and bounce off the ropes, and that's your gimmick for 4 years. Do you know how old that would get? After one show, you'd be okay, fucking Ultimate Warrior, he's funny, I get it. Not every week on the fucking program. Every week on the fucking program, fucking Jay Lethal is ooh yeah, dig it. For the first month, you're ha ha ha, he's like Macho Man, only black. Oh, those colored people, they are not Macho Man Randy Savage. Ha 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 ha. My God, man. Enough with the Macho Man. You're wearing the glasses, you're wearing the tassels, you're ooh, yeah. It wouldn't be funny if, you brought the real Macho Man back. You would have been bored of the real Macho Man already. 4 years afterwards, if Macho Man was still being yeah, Bonesaw is ready. You'd have been shut the fuck up, Macho Man. We're watching, a guy, God. You know what might have been funny? For 4 years. You know what might not have gotten old after 4 years is if we had the real Macho Man in blackface doing black machismo Jay Lethal. If he was ooh, yeah, I'm black now, woo. Elizabeth, where's Black Elizabeth? Yeah. Yeah, where are you, honey? I'm gonna, I actually do kind of a good Macho Man. Hey, freak show! You're going nowhere. I got you for 3 minutes of playtime. I'm losing my mind. I really am. Yeah, he's talking about the ring. He's you will be 10 times stronger, 10 times faster, 10 times the wrestler that every other man is, brother, because of this magic ring. And he's I can't believe this stuff. I'm watching the opening credits right now. I can't believe I've gone on this long and the opening sequence hasn't rolled. It's rolling right now. And they still got Awesome Kong in the opening sequence. Do you know what? I'll tell you what happened in the opening sequence. Apparently, there actually is some relevance here. Sorry, I stopped the camera. I was going to stop wrestling. This shows you how Mickey Mouse's production is. The story is, apparently, this is rumor, but apparently it's pretty reliable because she quit over this. And probably why you haven't seen this guy backstage. Apparently, Bubba the Love Sponge said something about, he was talking about Haiti. And Bubba was saying something I wish I could remember the exact, but generally he was why do we care about Haiti? America's got its own problems. Seriously, fuck Haiti. He said fuck Haiti. And not only is that the most misguided thing, even if you thought that, you probably shouldn't say that out loud. Even if you thought, yeah, America has its own problems, and why should we help other people when we need to help ourselves? typically American point of view, and even if I agreed with you, I probably wouldn't come on a camera or a radio show and say that. Because you're an asshole. And, like, even if you think, fuck Haiti, you have to admit that's kind of an asshole point of view to take. So, like, okay, so Bubba at Love Sponge says, fuck Haiti. And Awesome Kong is like, fuck you? And, like, I remember hearing, like, she cold-cocked him or something like that. Can't remember what. But I think she at least kind of assaulted him backstage. And, like, I think he wouldn't apologize. So apparently, like, she quit. And the next story in this that somebody sent me this story because ever since I came out on Twitter saying, like, I like wrestling and stuff, like, people send me wrestling stories all the time. Like, private message would be like, did you know this happened? Or did you know this happened? Or, like, so there's a ton of controversy. Like, people sent me the story that Maria from WWE got fired. So, like, if by the way we're firing no talent divas on WWE and we fired Maria, I could suggest to like 3 or 4 others that could be let go right now, like Michelle McCool, Layla, Savannah, could go on. But anyway, the other story that people have been mailing me a lot is apparently Awesome Kong is suing Bubba the Love Sponge for making anonymous, menacing, threatening phone calls by comparing her various features to, like, the big lips of Jimmy Walker and, like, just saying really, really racist things, like calling her the N-word and things like that. And, like, she's suing AT&T for discovery on who made these phone calls because she recognized his voice, apparently. And so, but AT&T won't release the records without discovery. So, like, apparently this is not over. This whole Haiti thing is not over. So that's why I'm amazed that we're still seeing Awesome Kong doing the big splash off the top rope on the TNA program. You'd think they'd take her, like, right off. Because WWE is very good about that. Like, anytime somebody leaves the company or they have trouble with somebody, they are off the opening crawl. Like Jeff Hardy, as soon as Jeff Hardy's out of the company, he's off the crawl. It's why I'm a little surprised even that I still think Hulk Hogan is. I need to watch it again, but the very beginning of the wrestling program, Hulk Hogan, you hear in kind of the distance, you hear like Hulkamania is running wild in the background, and then it kind of goes to The Rock going, "If you smile," and yeah, like, I think you still hear Hulk Hogan, which I'm a little surprised because he is on TNA, and that's why I'm also surprised they're doing this thing with the ring. Like, they're actually, like, they still, like, wave, like, WWE iconography in front of the camera. They're like, I have a WWE Hall of Fame ring, Abyss, and I'm going to give it to you. And you're like, why are we bringing up the WWE? Like this is just, it's kind of unheard of, really. Like, WWE never mentions TNA, and why should they? You know, they're such Bush League. Any kind of exposure or mention they could possibly give TNA is only positive reinforcement. But, you know, watching TNA, that would cure you pretty fucking quick. But anyway, yeah, okay. How far am I in this? I can't tell. Oh, okay. Like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This is gonna be a long night. Right now, AJ Styles is in the ring with Ric Flair cutting a promo on the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro. I'm not really, because he's saying the same thing. He's always like, beat the man, you know, whatever. But what's killing me about this one is that, one, AJ is actually showing charisma, but I'm not sure he really is. He's just kind of doing a Ric Flair impression. Like, but what's killing me about this right now is every time AJ says something like profound or like he's making like to be the man, you gotta beat the man, Ric Flair is in the background and he just goes, woo! Like he does little punctuations. He'll be like, "You will never beat me, Pope. At Hard Justice, I will beat you." Woo! Oh, Ric Flair's talking. Hang on. I always like how Ric Flair, whenever he's healing out, which they haven't actually let Rick do in a long time. When he's healing out, Ric Flair's like fucking psychotic, like just like raging, like just like frothing. The dude froths. Like right now, he's like like you can see like all his teeth, like And he's like ripping at his hair. Like, I aspire one day to be like Ric Flair and making a video just like, I hate this game! I hate it! Ah! I'm like elbow dropping my coat. I hope he elbow drops his coat. Dude is out of his fucking mind. He's calling the Abyss. He's calling the Abyss out. I don't mind telling you that the best part of the show is always Ric Flair. Are you serious? Oh my god. Okay. Hang on. I'm sorry. They're really doing this. Okay, you can't see it. I'm sorry. Okay, Ric Flair calls the Abyss out. And Abyss's music hits. Abyss comes out, like holding, like he's fucking Guy Gardner. Like he's like, ah! Like that. But that's not what's funny. What's funny is Abyss's music turns into American Made. The song, like American. If you've never, like, Google, YouTube American Made. Pardon me. He comes out to, he basically, you know what they're doing? They're basically having Abyss come out to Hulk Hogan light music. Like real American, American Made, like, oh my god. This is the Abyss. The monster Abyss is coming out to American Made. The guy who, like, 6 months ago was rocking back and forth in a fucking straitjacket. Like, he was basically Mankind light. Like, he like, his whole, like, it used to be kind of the Kane gimmick, and then he was kind of a Mankind gimmick, and then he was kind of Mankind when Mankind became a pussy, and was, like, calling Vince McMahon dad, and things like that. You could kind of chart Abyss's career in terms of, like, how he copied the various masked monsters of WWF. But now he's coming out to American Made, holding Hulk Hogan's Hall of Fame ring. He's like this close from being like, oh my god, this is so bad. This is when I kind of started hitting myself. I thought, that's the thing is, like, I didn't notice the American Made thing. I was kind of just focusing, like I said, I wasn't really watching it. Like, I'm noticing new stupid things. Oh my god. I'm trying to watch, see if he, like, poses. Like, if he's doing Hulk Hogan poses. No, he's like holding his ring up like a power! I'm going to pause this. Hang on. And of course, Ric Flair says what we're all thinking. He gets in his face and he's like, "What in the hell are you doing coming up to that music?" I love this show. Maybe I was wrong about this. This segment was actually really funny because Ric Flair, Abyss threatens to shove AJ Styles' boots up Ric Flair's ass, and he's like, "Are you kidding me? I'm not just in the Hall of Fame, I'm a god!" I don't know. It's like, wrestlers should take note and, like, try to, like, if they can get a fraction of that enthusiasm, just do it. Like, just, wow. This is probably the best business decision TNA has ever made, was getting Ric Flair. Like, if nothing else, WWE should have attached Ric Flair to some dude as a manager. Because this is exactly what they do. Like, this is the best thing they could have done with AJ Styles. Because the man can't cut a promo. Like, at all. The only way he cuts a promo is if he pretends like he's someone else cutting a promo, which is what he's doing. Like, he's pretending he's Ric Flair cutting a promo. And even then, like, 99% of the time, it's Ric Flair doing the talking. And that's what you should do! You know? So, this was the good move. So, right now, it's actually kind of started off on a high note, but I remember this getting really, really bad. Hulk Hogan just called AJ Styles the weakest champion of all time. No, that would be David Arquette from WCW. Thanks, Silver Fox. Okay, so first match of the show, and Team 3D against the Nasty Boys in a no disqualification. No turn the channel off. I'm serious. Team 3D versus the Nasty Boys, no DQ. One of the first things that that Taz mentions as this match is going on is that Knobs dislocated his shoulder in their match at the pay-per-view. Yes, the Nasty Boys were in a pay-per-view match in 2010, and Knobs dislocated his shoulder. So why the fuck are you making him wrestle with a dislocated shoulder? The guy is pathetic. The guy was pathetic before, but now that he's got an obviously injured arm, he's not taking any bumps. Like Bubba's beating the shit out of him, and he's just kind of like crumbling to his knees, not taking bumps like wrestlers often do because he can't take a back bump. So he's definitely like. There's only one guy who's bumping his ass off for this match, and you fucking can't get Sags to bump for anything, These guys, when they were good, they sucked. Like, in their prime, they were still fat loads of crap that couldn't bump worth shit. Their only real attraction was that they were these hardcore dudes. You could just crank them over the head with shit, and they would bleed for you. That was about it. They were like hardcore pieces of crap like, Mick Foley used to be, only Mick Foley had a little bit more charisma, I don't know, I'm just in a bad mood. But anyway, the funniest part of this one, because God help me, I wasn't watching the wrestling match, which Team 3D won, by the way. They 3D'd through a table. Not Knobs, by the way, obviously. Was that Taz mentions that we're going to Monday nights and we're going to dominate. Yeah. You know how long it must have taken Taz to say, we're going to Monday night and we're going to dominate and not break out laughing? Because it's not happening. If you think that you're going to go to Monday night and get, here, when WWF and WCW were going head-to-head, you were kind of relying on the fact that WCW was trying to put on some good wrestling. So when they were going to commercial, you'd flip over to WCW, see some good wrestling, and you'd stick around. That was the point. If they're thinking that, we're going to be watching WWE, Raw goes to commercial, we flip over to Impact, and we see the Nasty Boys, that we're going to be like, ooh, hold on, can't go back to that. Are you out of your fucking mind? You've really got to, just, no. 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 The Nasty Boys. We're still putting on matches with the Nasty Boys in 2010, and you think you are going to dominate? Dominate! Monday nights. I know you've got to say that, but you ain't gonna dominate. I could bend over and do the rest of this review talking out my ass, and you wouldn't dominate this with a Nasty Boys match. Wow. There is someone seriously psychotic running this show. You've got good wrestlers. You've got talented people. How bad is it? Just let them go out there and do what they do. The Nasty Boys? Ah! Okay, so after the match, more talking. That's total nonstop action. Anyway, Mick Foley, and I missed this last week. Apparently it made much more sense last week. I don't think it did. But Mick comes to Eric Bischoff's office because Eric has to be in at least 95% of the segments in this show. And he says, he's like, you manipulated me, Eric Bischoff. You lured me out of the building to get me measured for a suit. And while I was out of the building getting my inseam taken, you swarmed upon Abyss, and you beat him up. And you were trying to take his mask off. because they did that last week. They beat Abyss up and they were going to take his mask off. And then Eric Bischoff goes, Mick, why are you being so paranoid? You saw what happened. Hulk Hogan came down and gave him the magic Hulkamania ring. And now he's happier than he's ever been. That makes no sense. He beat Abyss up, was going to unmask him and just he was going to unmask him and humiliate him, and then Hulk Hogan ran everyone off, ran Bischoff's guys off, gave him the ring, and Bischoff is taking credit for Hulk Hogan running Bischoff off and stopping what Bischoff was originally going to do. And he's taking credit for Hulk Hogan ruining his original plan of assaulting Abyss. So Mick Foley goes, I'll give you that. He's like, yeah, you got a good point. And so then, of course, the question that was on my mind when this segment started, Bischoff goes, by the way, where's the suit? And Mick goes, it's at the hotel. And Bish goes like, I paid for the suit. And Mick goes, it is a nice suit. And Eric's like, well, you gonna wear the suit? And Mick goes, I don't know. You think I'm making this up? You think I have not said a lie or even exaggerated yet? He goes, I don't know. And then he walks off. And he's like, I hope you see you in that suit, Nick. And he's like, we'll see. I'm keeping an open mind. And then the door closes. This is amazing. This is amazing writing going on right now. They remembered the suit. Seriously, this is really, really bad. But ordinarily, they wouldn't have remembered the suit. Because last week, the whole show was based around that fucking suit, apparently. And they're like, well, where is it? He's like, it's in the hotel. So it actually, they harken back to the storyline they just established. And believe me, they don't usually do that. How far are we in? Oh, man. 25 minutes. This is new, even for me. Okay, I missed this. Okay. Women's match, ODB against Daphne. Daphne looking really freaky, by the way. I guess that's the point. But they're doing this match. It goes on for like 20 seconds, okay? Then they cut to a picture-in-picture where they're like right here, there's a match going on like up here, and then there's a picture. They cut in the middle of a match to a picture-in-picture backstage interview with Christy and Tara to recap the events of last week where apparently Daphne went apeshit on her with a chair or something like that. They did an interview. There wasn't enough talking in this show, so they did some talking in the middle of wrestling. I've never seen that. I've seen where they've done things where in the middle of the match they would cut back to some wrestler cutting like a 10-second promo, like, you think you've seen something yet? Well, you ain't seen me yet. Like, something like that. And then they cut right back to the match. I've never seen a full-on 2-minute interview that took up the entire match. All of it. With Tara. And, Tara, it's just generic stuff. Like, I didn't know Tara was this deranged, but if she wanted my attention, she's got it, blah, 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 blah. And going on. Even when there's not talking, there's talking. And it's like, So, okay. But when they finally cut back to the match, like the last 10 seconds of the match, they got this spot where Daphne is like throwing ODB's knee into the ring post because the heels do that. And so she's like, ow, ow, ow. Then she drags out this piece of ring steps from under the ring and then props them up against her foot and throws them into her foot once. And she's like, oh my God. Then she props the steps up against her foot and then reaches back under the ring to get a kendo stick, Singapore cane, whatever. And as soon as she does this, the steps fall down. They fall off her foot, and they just kind of lean against the ring. But Daphne's like, and then props them up against her foot again, and then they fall down. And then she's like, and then she just like, she tries to whack the steps with her, like, okay, here are the steps, okay, like they're leaning against the ring, and her foot is like laying on top of the steps. She takes the stick and she kind of whacks the steps, and by some implication that is injuring her foot. It really doesn't look like it's hurting anything. It looks like she's whacking a set of real steel ring steps with a stick. and eventually the steps just fall down completely, and she keeps whacking the knee, which is what she should have been doing in the first place. Like she spent like 30 seconds whacking these steps, like just nothing going on, you know. It just and then Dr. Stevie comes out, and the fact that Stevie is still employed anywhere still baffles me. But yeah, in the middle of the ring, we had an interview segment. It's new. If that's happened before, I don't remember it. And immediately after the talking wrestling segment, more talking! Yes. We go backstage to the tag team champions Hernandez and Matt Morgan. And for those of you not familiar with this, there was some tension between the tag team champions when Matt Morgan and Hernandez were in a match. And Morgan cheated and won the match by rolling him up and grabbing the tights, and that gave him some advantage. And Borash is back there, and he's like, how do you feel ever since that, well, Matt Morgan kind of screwed you over and won the 8-card stud tournament for the number 1 contendership to the World Heavyweight title. Why is it called the 8-card stud tournament? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. But anyway, they went back and forth, and Matt Morgan was like really going on and on and on for something that should not have taken that long to say. But he's like, we were over this. We talked about this all the time, and he didn't do anything I wouldn't do, and I wouldn't do anything he wouldn't do, and I saw an opportunity, I grabbed it, and like just repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And then they were like look, we're focused. We're the tag team champions, and we'll fight anybody, anywhere. And he's saying this in such an obviously heel manner that he's like completely full of shit. So, and then, okay, after that wasn't really what I was going for. But after that, we cut back to the parking lot where you see X-Pac and Scott Hall sifting in a dumpster for weapons, and like Scott Hall's got a pipe, and X-Pac grabs a piece of wood, and he's like, ho! And they're like, we'll be back after this. Okay. What idiot sees who's a wrestling... What idiot who's a wrestling fan sees a teaser for the next segment where you're like... You see X-Pac and Scott Hall, and they're like, tune in for more of this. And then does it. You know what? I'm a fucking idiot. Just an idiot. Okay? I can't even say idiot. That's how stupid I am. I review this shit for a living, okay? It hurts me to consider that I'm going to pick up this remote and I'm going to skip the next commercials and I'm going to see a Scott Hall match. It makes one weep how much this is going to suck. But, man, like, the deranged, psychotic mind who is like, we'll lead out and say, come back and see X-Pac in a match. We come back from commercial, right? And Beer Money is in the ring talking. They're not saying anything. They're saying about how tough they are, and ever since Hulk Hogan came back, there's new opponents, and they're dominant, they're gonna keep wrestling, and we want anybody, we want the technical. Have we not had enough talking yet? I checked. This is about 45 minutes into this show. How many talking segments have we had already? I know there's been 2 wrestling matches, but I hate to count the ODB match because it was a talking match. It wasn't a match. We've had Abyss talking in the locker room. We had AJ and Ric Flair talking. We had Matt Morgan and Hernandez talking. We had the fucking Foley talking to Eric Bischoff. We had Tara talking to Christie. Does this never end? They're still talking. Total, non-stop action. This show may never end at this rate. I have no idea who's going to watch this vlog. I just don't. How long has this vlog gone on? Like 3 hours? How long have I been bitching about this? It's amazing how much I found to bitch about. Okay, so they go backstage for talking, where Eric Young and Kevin Nash are in street clothes, and Borash is talking to them, and they want to fight Six-Pac. I call him X-Pac because I hate the motherfucker. They want to fight Six-Pac and Scott Hall. But they say, unfortunately, they're not under TNA contract. Well, they're on TNA TV enough fucking time. Like, if they're not on contract, why are they on TV? Okay, so these guys who are not under contract, they're like, we're going to fight these two somewhere. And my immediate question is, well, go do it. They're like, we don't need a referee, we don't need a ring. I'm like, so go do it. Anyway, so Eric Young is like, that's why I went to Hulk Hogan. And I said, we want TV time to beat them up on TV. Because I have no doubt that will be the highest rated segment in TNA history. Really? You think... Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle. Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. The return of Sting. The return of Hulk Hogan. Every match in the history of matches. And you think people are going to hear about a street fight brawl with Scott Hall and X-Pac. And that is going to be, people are going to get on the internets and say, tune into TNA! There's going to be an X-Pac match! It's started again! Just, this is where I started to just be like, this is so dumb! Somebody wrote this! Is there a person alive who believes that? That X-Pac and fucking Razor Ramon in 2010 equals ratings? Same person who thinks the Nasty Boys equals Monday Night Domination. I know I've said that a lot, but you know, at some point, seriously, like, what if we just fired the writers? Like, just, nobody left. We said, like, I literally got a whiteboard, wrote down all the names of the wrestlers, all of them. And I just drew, like, I put numbers next to each one, and I was like, number 1 and number 13, just go out there and wrestle. And I did that the entire show, like 2 hours of show. I had 10 matches. No microphones, in the ring. Just I let them wrestle. There wouldn't have been any context, but there would have been decent wrestling. You know, like, we're like an hour in now. We've had 2 matches, and one of them was a Nasty Boys match, and one of them was basically an interview. And you know what we're doing right now? So, like, I've got it paused right now. There's no wrestling. we've got Jeff Jarrett walking into, I think it's Eric Bischoff's office. Another Eric Bischoff segment, another talking segment. I'm going to watch. Here we go. It's the little moments, really, that sell this for me. Like, these are comedy genius. Okay. And I'm not even done with this segment. I'm sorry. Like, Jeff Jarrett comes in, and I don't know. Like, he had a match with Abyss, and he was supposed to like beat Abyss up with a baseball bat or something like that, and he didn't do it. And so now he's in trouble, and like he's gonna get fired or some shit. Like, so Jeff Jarrett comes into Bischoff, and he's like, "Oh, dare you? It's good. I founded this company. I love this place, and it's gonna take a lot more than $6 to run me out of this business." And I know that because he said that like 5 times. He just kind of was like, "It's going to take a lot more than $6, Eric. Going to take a lot more." And Eric's like, he's very calm, and he's like, Jeff, please. He's like, I'm not stupid, Eric. I know it's going to take a lot more than $6. And he's like, Jeff. He's like, I have something to say. He's like, I don't care. More than $6. And he's like, Jeff, this is hard for me, and I know it's hard for you. It's even harder for me. And he's like, and Jeff's like, are you trying to make me feel sorry for you? More than $6. And Eric goes, please, I let you talk. It's only fair that you let me talk. And Jeff immediately backs down. He goes, fair enough. He's like, gonna take a lot more than $6. Please, I let you talk. Fair enough. Wrestling! Wrestle! I'm watching the commercials now. The commercials are less stupid. They keep me calm. Anyway. Kind of lost it for a little bit, but I'm okay now. Anyway, what happened? Yeah, Eric Bischoff says that you did the right thing by not hitting Abyss with a baseball bat, which that's good. It's good we have our moral center. It's good we've got that back. And he says he wants to make it up to Jeff and give him another chance. So if he would be so good as to meet him in the middle of the ring later on in the show, he'll make it all better. You got to trust me, Jeff. And Jeff goes, okay. You'd have never had to see a wrestling show in your life. If this was the first wrestling show you'd ever seen in your life, you'd have been like, Eric is lying. This is a trap. And you'd be right. How much? I would bet 11 zillion bajillion dollars that this is a trap. Why is he going out there? The show started again, and Eric Bischoff is coming out, and they're going to talk some more. I hate this show. Why can't they wrestle? It's a wrestling show. There's a... No! No! There's a sign in the crowd that says, Hall rules. Hall rules? Hall does not rule. He's never ruled. Nothing is ruled by Hall. Nobody would be ruled by Scott Hall. There's no rulage. He is not a ruler. Scott Hall? In Hogan we trust. Fine. Hogan's an asshole. There's an asshole with a sign that says Bubba Army. The Bubba Army. You know what? I buy that. The guy said fuck Haiti. I can see people agreeing with that. It's bullshit, but there's assholes out there. But nobody's that deranged to think that Scott Hall has ruled anything. Scott Hall does not rule. They're still talking. I should make you watch this. So, I'm really losing my mind here. Okay. Jeff Jarrett comes to the ring, Bischoff comes to the ring, and to the shock of everybody, it turns out not to be on the level. They bullshit about how you did the right thing, but you didn't do it right by me, and he whips out a spatula. He goes, Jeff, you're going to go back to catering and flip some burgers for the fine folk here at TNA. And then he gives him the spatula. And then he forces him to wear a hairnet to keep the hair out of those burgers. He says, or you could quit. And Jeff, the brave hero of the company, the guy we should be sympathizing with, the hero of the show, he goes and he flips burgers. The bad guy was like humiliating him, and he's like, fair enough, I'll do that. You know, so we come back from commercial, and guess what we're doing? We're talking. I'm a little calmer now. Had a few drinks. Okay, so what I didn't tell you was that as Beer Money was in the ring, Hernandez comes out and he gives them a title shot for the tag team titles. But now we come back and Matt Morgan is upset. He's like, I know I said that we would fight anybody, anywhere, at any time, but I didn't know you were going to say Beer Money. I thought you were gonna start off with like the Motor City Machine Guns or Generation Me. Hey, you know how to make established tag teams look like complete pussies is when you have other tag teams refer to them as the jobbers they are. Yeah. Anyway, Hernandez, this is kind of like, you know, you said anybody anywhere. He's like, I know I said that, and I meant that, kind of. But we need to be on the same page. And they said on the same page like 300 times. And then, wonder of wonders. How long... Hang on. We're just about at the 70-minute mark, and we're wrestling. Wrestling! It's Brian Kendrick versus Cass, but I'll take it. I'll fucking take it, okay? And I'm still in the middle of this. Why I started the tape again. Well, I wasn't even going to mention the talking or the wrestling. I was like, okay, but... they did it again. We're in the middle of this match, and I paused the match just as they did this. And they cut to a picture-in-picture again of last week. This is the only part I saw from last week. I tuned in late on TV, and I watched Impact. And at the very end of Impact, Samoa Joe's in the parking lot when a van pulls up, and ninjas jump out and kidnap him. That was how we went off the air last week, was ninjas kidnapped Samoa Joe. Now, I could go on about how we're dealing with a wrestling program in which a 300-pound Samoan is abducted by ninjas who drive a panel van, but I won't. It's wrestling. I can kind of roll with that. You know, we had a character who was a psychotic dentist, and you know, wrestling. But we're 70 minutes in, and they're only just now discussing the live, public, televised abduction of a human being by ninjas. And Taz, he goes, you know, I've called Samoa Joe. I've left messages on his voicemail, and it's been a week, and there's been no answer. Where do you hide a 300-pound Samoan, he says. I don't know, but he was abducted by ninjas. Ninjas! Call the cops! There are ninjas kidnapping people on TV! The cops! Did no one get a license plate? Ninjas! Kidnapping! TV! We're not stupid! And this is all taking place when there's a wrestling match going on. But we can't have wrestling. No wrestling for you. We have to punch up the wrestling by recapping the ninja abduction last week. We can't sit back and enjoy the fucking wrestling. No. Samoa Joe was kidnapped by ninjas. That's what's important. And you know, that's just about the most action-packed thing to have. Like, when there is action on total, non-stop action, it's ninjas leaping out of a van to abduct Samoan people. And the other thing that happened during this match, I'm going to leave it. Fuck it. The other thing that happened during this match was that they start advertising. There's a big banner ad at the bottom. They start advertising for the post-show show, which I think involves Borash and Christy Hemme talking about the show, online only. I have to see this. What is it? What is there to talk about? Are you fucking kidding me? The balls on these. A post-show show with more talking? Match ended, by the way. Match was about 3 minutes long. You know, two of your most talented wrestlers in Kendrick and Kaz. 3 minutes. You know, we don't need to see. We got more talking to get through. We have so much more storyline to wind out. They're lucky they got 3. The post-show show. Because who doesn't, after this, it was like, I need to discuss this. Well, I need to hear Christy Hemme's fucking input. I need to, I don't need to hear Christy Hemme give me input on shit. Okay? Like, this is the worst. And I'll repeat this. This is average. This is not a bad Impact. As Impact goes, it's average. Abyss is talking. Had to get through more talking. He says about what you'd expect. Took about 4 minutes. Now we're recapping the show. Fast forwarding. Oh, fast forward faster. Oh. Now we're talking. Backstage. Christy Hemme and Ken Anderson. And Ken Anderson has superpowers. He can summon his microphone from the sky anywhere he is. They should make this a bit. Where, like, he's all sorts of places. Like he's at Six Flags, and he's like, or like he's I don't know, he's taking a driving test, and he's like, or like he's in court. Like he's in court. Yeah, he's fighting a traffic ticket, and instead of using the microphone in front of him, he's like, They got to make this a shtick, because apparently he can just summon the microphone from anywhere. More later. The first thing I got to tell you, Ken, is stop with the fucking promos where you got like 2 sticks of gum in your mouth. Seriously. You're supposed to be a pro at this, and like, he's not even the kind who can kind of speak well with gum in his mouth. He's like, I'm gonna beat you, Kurt Angle. No, he's fucking like the gum all the fucking time. It actually was pretty funny, although I do question the logic of having a character in your wrestling show actually tell people who have the PVR, you might want to fast forward past this. He says that. But the funny part of this one is that he starts saying, like, I got to fight Rob Terry for the, what is it, the world, it's not the World Heavyweight Championship, but it's like the World Legends title or something. It's the made-up belt that Booker T brought in that they made real. I don't know. And so he's like, yeah, Rob Terry's big. He's got the strength of 6 gorillas. He says this. He says, but I've been with guys bigger than him. I've been in the ring with guys faster than him. And I've been in the ring with 6 gorillas, and I beat him. It was by DQ, but still. Okay, that was pretty good. But, yeah. Yeah, it's more talking. I've lost all memory of my life before this show. I don't remember anything. I don't know how I got here. More talking! Rob Terry's going to the ring for his title match, and other members of the British Invasion start menacing him backstage. More talking! Man, Rob Terry looks jacked up beyond belief. This dude is... Jesus, that guy is on some steroids huge. God! He looks like The Miz if The Miz turned into the Incredible Hulk. He really does. He's like The Miz with like 300 pounds more of muscle. The dude is fucking beast-like. God, it must hurt to be him. So I'm really excited, right? Because we've shown for like the last 10 minutes, everyone's getting ready for this match. Like, you know, Mr. Anderson's getting ready for the match. He's doing his thing backstage, but he's like, Mr. Anderson! And he's like, he runs off, he does his thing. And then Rob Terry, he's going back there. We cut to commercial. I'm like, we're going to see a wrestling match. We're going to see wrestling! Wrestling! So, okay. You think we're going to see wrestling, right? Wrong! No! Because Rob Terry gets in the ring, and I'm like, all right, Global Championship, wrestling! And then Mr. Anderson, he appears on the ramp. And nope, he stops. He's like, nope, can't wrestle yet. Have to talk. He gets his microphone, and he's like, oh, I know you guys hate me, but, like, I had to look this up. Because apparently... The last time Kurt Angle and Anderson had a match, they did this thing where Anderson whipped off this medal that he wears around his neck. Not his gold medals, but like some like army medal. And he whips it off and he spits on it. And then the next week, Angle's in the ring and he's like, that medal was given to me by a veteran. I went to Fort Hood, and this guy, he showed me what the American spirit is. And there's soldiers dying in the sands of Afghanistan, and this guy gave me a medal. And I value this thing, and Mr. Anderson spit on it, so I'm going to kill him. And I'm like, it would have been good to establish the medal before he spit on it, but if this leads to a wrestling match, whatever. So, Anderson, this week, I'm back to the present now. I have to explain the backstory, but I'm back to the present. So, like, Anderson, he gets on the ramp, he's like, I don't know why Angle's so pissed off, I just spit on a medal, who cares? And he says, but I've got this medal, and he shows some kind of, like, beat-up medal. He's like, this medal was given to me by the widow of a soldier who died in Vietnam, is that okay? And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about, Ken? I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Rob Terry's in the ring like, I don't know what to do. I'm British. Quiet. You know, like, and then he's going on about this metal, and it's like, Kurt Angle doesn't know what he's talking about. I'll spit on any metal I want to spit on. And then Kurt Angle literally materializes, like kind of like he transports in. Like, you know how he like raises out of the ramp? You probably don't know, but he has this thing where like he kind of like toasters out of the ramp on a lift. So he appears behind Anderson, and he's got this chair, and like for 3 minutes, Anderson's like pacing back and forth, talking, not looking behind him, and the crowd is like, "There's Angle," and Anderson's like, "Angle won't be here. I instinctively know that Angle won't be here. I don't know why I think that, but I would hear him if he were to materialize on a ramp or an elevator behind me." And so, like, eventually Kurt Angle has enough, and he beats the shit out of him one time. Like, he hits him in the back with a chair. He's like, ugh! Pretty much exactly like he was like, ugh! And then Anderson, like he was shot with a shotgun, falls down on the ramp, unmoving, dead. Like I'm not talking like a Family Guy where the guy was bashed in the knee, or he's like I'm dead. No, I'm not talking like in wrestling when a guy is hit with a chair, how he kind of goes down like, no, ow. I'm talking like he is curled up in the fetal position, eyes closed, not breathing. Kurt Angle murdered the man. He's dead. And so, and I'm like, even TNA, Mike TNA, the commentator, is like, look at his lifeless body. He's dead. You killed him. I don't know how you kill a guy by hitting him once in the back with a chair, but he did it. And so, like Kurt Angle, he points to Rob Terry and he's like, you come here, get rid of this shit off my lawn. Rob Terry comes in, picks up the corpse of Ken Anderson, throws him in the ring, and even though he's dead, decides, I'm going to power slam him because it's funny. So he does it, and he pins Anderson in the match that lasts all of, like, if you call it a match, 8 seconds. No wrestling for you! None. That was a wrestling match. No. The match consisted of Rob Terry picking up a corpse, slamming it, and pinning it. Fourth match of the night. How much... I should have had a stopwatch. I should have timed how much total non-stop action wrestling there was in this show. Because it totally non-stopped for a grand total of, it can't have been more than 10 minutes. 2-hour show. And the action never stopped. It never started, man. The action has not started. When there was wrestling, there was no wrestling in the wrestling matches. They rang the bell, but there wasn't wrestling. You can't wrestle a dead man. This show's not over. We've still got the X-Pac fight to look forward to. So not only do they have to recap the entire Scott Hall NWO thing where they're like, they have to recap the whole thing. Like the one time they decide to recap something, the recap lasts like 5 minutes. But anyway, they go outside to the parking lot where X-Pac is in this hilarious like gray suede workout suit or something like that. And like X-Pac, like a fucking monkey, is like, he's giving DX crotch chops. On TNA, he's giving like the DX suck it chops. And this brawl, this long-awaited brawl, they spent like 2 segments building it up. They spent 5 minutes recapping the feud up to this point. Brawl in the parking lot lasts 90 seconds, tops. If that. And this brawl is awesomely hilarious, by the way. It's like, okay. So, like, Eric Young and X-Pac square off because they're the only two of this entire quartet that can fight. Yeah. And then we don't even see, like, the camera cuts back and we see that, you know how I mentioned that Peter Griffin grabbing his knee backstage, like, all hurt? That happens in this. Scott Hall literally Tanya Harding's Nash in the knee with a lead pipe. And like that's it's over. He's just like, why my knee? And because Hall is so broken down and immobile, and like the sheer act of hitting the guy, fake hitting the guy in the knee with a pipe was enough to gas him, So he starts like, Eric Young is getting all beat up by X-Pac, and he starts like throwing like knife-edge chops in a street fight. And against the guy who's wearing a T-shirt. He's like, this is family business, yo. You stay out of it, yo. And so they beat Eric Young up and they tag him with the NWO style. They don't put NWO, they put For Life on him. And they're like, just like the old days, Pac, woo! And they walk off. But how do you do this thing where like you have the good guys in your feud and the bad guys in your feud? This is like Wrestling 101 when you're booking a match. You never have the bad guys. Like, the bad guys are always worse in a fight than the good guys. If it's a straight-up fight in wrestling, the good guy pretty much always wins. But no. We have Eric Young and Nash losing about as clean as a sheet as you can in a street fight against Hall and X-Pac. Left lying, left crippled. 90 seconds. This is not how you do things. This is not how you book wrestling. This is wrong. There's more show. Oh, I forgot. I forgot a non-wrestling segment. I forgot that we cut back to catering, where we do indeed see Jeff Jarrett in a hairnet flipping burgers. Pussy. How do you book a show where you're supposed to have... Now he's cutting onions. He's in a hairnet chopping vegetables. He's crying over the onions. They're making him tear up. There's Dunkin' Donuts coffee behind him. Why do you have a show where the babyface is told to humiliate himself flipping burgers, and in defiance, the babyface does exactly that? And now, we're back in Bischoff's office because we ain't had enough not enough talking. And Mick Foley's back. I'll unveil this as it happens. Foley is back in his new suit. He's wearing a coat, though. Okay, we gotta see this suit. It's a nice suit, but it's got a mustard stain on it. It all ties together. This whole thing, three-week storyline. Mick's got a suit, and Mick's officially a completely retarded stooge. This is... We're not done. I'll come back. And we're following up with this. This is not over. Bischoff has hired an etiquette coach for Mick Foley. And Mick is totally down with this. He's really buying into this. He's like, after all the problems we've had, after all the WCW crap, after all the fighting, after all the things I've said, you're really willing to invest that kind of money into me as an asset? And Bischoff is like, totally. Absolutely. I want you to be the face of this company. I want you negotiating business deals. You can trust me. And this minutes. He's even doing an evil laugh. He's like, ah. This minutes after we sent Jeff Jarrett to make hamburgers. And Mick is totally down. He's like, you've turned over a new leaf, Eric. I love how nobody on the wrestling program actually watches the wrestling program. Like, I know how we're kind of supposed to pretend the cameraman is not there, but when the second after you leave the room, the guy you were just talking to, is just like, I will kill Nick. This is amazing. Are all the baby faces on this show completely stupid? I'm not even talking kind of naive or dopey or just even low IQ. I mean dangerously unable to function on his own stupid. if you were to give this guy a cup of applesauce in a spoon, would probably drown level stupid. Because that's what Mick Foley and Jeff Jarrett are like in this show. It saddens me that right now, we're actually about to see a match, I think, in theory. But it saddens me that probably the most intelligent babyface on the entirety of TNA Impact is going to the ring right now, who is the circus freak wearing a mask named Abyss, who currently believes that his ring gives him magic super strength. And he's fighting Nigel McGuinness. I'm sorry, Desmond Wolfe. He's Nigel McGuinness. And I would be stunned if this match lasts longer than... With Abyss's new superpowers, with his strength of 10 men, and now that he's a god of wrestling, if this lasts more than 2 minutes, I'll be stunned. We'll see. I'll be back 2 minutes. I would bet something, but I won't be wrong. 2 minutes tops. We'll see. Oh, I could follow TNA President Dixie Carter on Twitter. I'm so there. Dixie Carter? I didn't even know that was possible. We're still in the match. I'd say 90 seconds. Black hole slam. It's over. 2 minutes. Nigel McGuinness is jobbed out in 2 minutes. And Bryan Danielson is currently being taught how to wrestle by The Miz. This isn't working. And of course the ring gave him... Oh, here comes AJ and Ric Flair. Because they promised that... The story here is, I didn't mention this, they want the Hall of Fame ring. They think that Abyss is an embarrassment. He is. But they want the Hall of Fame ring and they give it to AJ Styles. And Abyss is killing them. Abyss is no-selling the legendary Flair chops. And Nigel McGuinness has a chair. He's beating up Abyss with it. And of course, Abyss will soon be no-selling the chair shots because he has Hulkamania. Yep. He's going like, you! Yep. They're really doing the Hulk Hogan bit with Abyss. Wow, there was actually stuff happening. Okay, so they start beating up Abyss, and they handcuff him to the ropes. And the whole time they're doing this, you see Hogan, oh so slowly, like, you know how most times when you have somebody like making the save, they run? Hogan ain't running. Hogan, he stopped running 20 years ago. He has no knees. It's like watching a dude on like crutches like hobble. Hogan ain't running. So Hogan finally kind of shambles into the ring, and he kind of just pivots like he's got a basketball. You know, like he can't move, so he just kind of stands there and he's like, "You come over here!" And the guy runs over and he punches the guy, and like another guy's like, "You run over here!" And then Ric Flair runs over and he gets punched. And He's like a turret, like the Hogan turret of punches. Back in the day, he'd have been running around like, whoa, boom, ah, boom, and like kicking people. No, his leg's not going up that high, not unless it's on a pay-per-view and he's at like 3/4 zone shots. Now, the knee is not coming up that high. No, he's lucky he's walking to the ring. Like that incline just about finished him off. But Hogan is running wild, and finally Flair chop blocks him in the back of the leg. He goes down. And I think Desmond Wolfe hits him with a chair. No. It was AJ hits him with the title belt and it busts Hogan open, and he's all bleeding, which is actually kind of I haven't seen anyone busted open in a long time in wrestling. WWE, they don't do blood spots anymore. There's no bleeding in wrestling now. At least definitely not in WWE, because like if there's ever a time when a wrestler is busted open, they stop the match and they send a doctor in and they glue that shit shut. Like, I remember seeing the Iron Man match, the no disqualification matches. I've seen cage matches where they would, like, stop the match, sew them up. And, like, I've never seen that before in my life. It's weird. But in TNA, like, Hogan, he's busted up. He's bleeding. I'm surprised. And he's gushing all over the place. And, of course, Abyss, he's weeping. Like, he sees Hogan being destroyed. And, of course, he loves Hulk Hogan. And he's like, no, why? and Hogan's all beat up, and he's like, Flair's doing that thing where he kind of like knuckles the dude in his open sore. I love that spot. And all of a sudden, like Abyss gets an idea, and the acting here is phenomenal. Like Abyss, all of a sudden he's like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And the camera's on him. He's like looking back and forth, like, "I don't know what to do." And all of a sudden he looks at his hand, and he's like, "The ring, it gives me power." And he's like, "Ah!" And he summons all his Hulk Lantern abilities, and he breaks the cuffs. He breaks the chain on the cuffs. It's holding the ropes. And the bad guys, they see this and like, "Oh shit, he's got superpowers!" And he runs off. The ring has given him superpowers. This was a joke when Hurricane Helms was doing this thing where he's like, I think he actually at one point Hurricane had a power ring. And he was like, "This ring gives me power. I'm a Green Lantern." And like we were just like, he didn't really have superpowers. Like he tried to choke slam people all the time. He couldn't because he really wasn't a superhero. This ring has given Abyss the strength of 10 men. We're really rolling with this. It's amazing. I can't believe it. I was actually recording kind of like an ending to this thing, and then they come back from commercial and they're talking. That was like. You had Abyss like holding Hulk Hogan, who's been like beaten up and bloodied and cut. He's like all bad, and Abyss is like, "I'll have revenge. I have power." And like I thought the show was over, and it's not. I was just kind of talking over the commercials, right? And so they come back, and they're like, "Moments ago, we saw Hulk Hogan beat up," and then Hulk Hogan's getting helped up to his feet. He gets a microphone, and he starts talking, and I'm like, "Oh my god, what the talking is in this fucking show?" And he's like, "Well, you know something, brothers? Ric Flair, you think you can keep interrupting? You think you can keep cheating and interfering in people's matches?" And hilariously, Flair gets a mic and he goes, "Yeah! You think you can keep interfering in people's... You want to keep interfering? Yeah, I do!" I love that. Okay. And he's like, "Well, guess what, brother?" He's like, "Next week when we go live, we go big time on Monday nights, dude." He's like, "When we dominate Monday nights, we're going to have a match." He's like, "AJ Styles, you're going to be in the ring. And Ric Flair, you're coming out of retirement, brother." And Ric Flair's like, "You can take me out of retirement. I'll do what I want to do when I want to do it." And like, I was like, you can't take Ric Flair out of retirement, can you? Are you all powerful? Can you make a guy who's retired wrestle? Apparently, when you sign up for TNA, when you sign up for any wrestling company, no matter what you are, janitor, caterer, wrestler, manager, referee, they can just be like, "You're in a match." Just like, "But I have a bad back and sickle cell anemia." Fuck you! In the ring or you're fired! Like I'm 70 years old and have an artificial hip. You're wrestling! Apparently you're in the ring. And so they're like, Ric Flair, he's going apeshit. He's like, "I'm not going to retire. You know what? Fine, I'm wrestling you. Woo! Woo!" And, he's like, Ric Flair always just being awesome and, like, fucking out of his mind. Like, with just like, I still want him to elbow drop the jacket. I love that part. Anyway, so, like, and you're going to be fighting Abyss and his partner. And you'd be a total idiot if you didn't know who his partner was at this point. But, of course, they had, like, AJ's like, "Who you got? Who's your partner, Abyss?" And he's like, "You got nobody, Abyss." And Hogan's like, "Well, it's gonna be me, brother." And everyone's like, "Yay." Actually, the TNA Impact Zone is the easiest audience in the world, so they are like, "Yay, Hogan." But you don't want to see Hogan. Like, the dude is ancient. I know Ric Flair is ancient as well, but the dude, Ric Flair, his longevity, superhuman, okay? Ric Flair, he's still broken down and beat up, but the guy can still go. Hogan? No. Hogan is so done. He's been done. When Hogan was wrestling in WWE, when he was still doing the Mr. America thing, he was toast then. He was toast 5 years before that. His knees are like... I'd hate to see an MRI of his knees. They must look like just a sack of broken glass. Like, I sympathize. The dude is like, what, 60? 62? I don't know. Older? And the guy is like still being forced to wrestle? Dude, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Like, I mean, I'm at my age, like, 29, I wouldn't want to wrestle. Like, everyone's got aches and pains. This dude has been like killing himself for like 40 years or something like that. Man. But you don't want to see Hogan wrestle. That's what we're going to put forward on Monday night. That's the marquee match. Is like, you know what? Okay, seeing Flair and Hogan in the ring might be kind of fun. Which is why they've got Abyss and AJ Styles going to be doing most of the heavy lifting. You know what I mean? It's probably the way I would have gone too if I were booking this. I would have like these two guys. Hogan especially, you would probably have Hogan just run wild and get the pinfall in the last minutes of that match because that's all he can do. Like you would have him like throw the punches, throw the boot, do the big leg, 1, 2, 3. Total participation in that match, 30 seconds tops. Like that's how you book the Hogan match anymore. Maybe you have him get beat up and like stomped on a little bit where he like hulks up, but you don't have Hogan wrestling. But you cannot be fired up for this. Like this is not. Maybe pay-per-view. I might have done this pay-per-view and built this up, but like, yeah, you kind of objected them giving this away on free TV. Oh, hang on. TV started again. Sorry. But this is not a good sign for Monday nights. If they really think this is going to be huge ratings on Monday nights, if they think they can keep this up, like, dominate? No. Man. What else to say about that show? I have no idea how long I've gotten on. I would be surprised if I haven't completely run out of recording space on this camera, if I was just like re-recording over like the beginning. I have actually never run up against the recording limit of my camera, but anyway. If you've been listening to this all the way up to now, congratulations, man. You guys are hardcore. You guys are fans, because you've just witnessed me suffer. Like, this... I don't know. Like I said, this is an average episode of Impact, but I've never suffered as much as I have. I can't point to any specific part of this show and be like, this is the worst part of Impact ever, or like this is the stupidest thing ever. I've seen stupider Impacts. I have seen worse Impact. I have seen Impacts with far, far less action. But for some reason, this one just got to me. This one piled it on. I think it was. You know what I think it was when I finally got to the Rob Terry match, where like even the matches there's no matches in the matches. Like there's no wrestling here. It's false advertising. I keep going back to total nonstop action, and there's not action here. It's just all talking. But yeah, I'm sorry. Don't. Here's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see comments where people are like, I watched this whole episode, I watched this whole vlog, and all you did was bitch and moan about wrestling. And it wasn't funny. I warned you. I warned you this was going to hurt. You saw on my Twitter this hurt real bad. And I honestly, I don't know why you're watching this. It's terrible. I admit this is terrible. You watched me watching a shitty wrestling program and recapping, if I could, all the ways in which it was stupid. And I don't think I even scratched the surface. Like, I'm sorry if I didn't cover everything that was stupid, but wow. Like, just... This was incredible. I wasted my whole night watching it twice. I watched this twice. Or 1.5 times. Okay, 1.5. 1 in 5/8. Man. I don't think you've ever seen me really go over a bad TNA show before. This was bad. And if you don't believe me, like, I know there's a lot of TNA fans out there who are like really like... TNA used to put on good matches. Like, their booking was never good, ever, but they used to have really good matches. They used to do a lot of X Division stuff. They used to do a lot of like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, a lot of really high spot stuff where they had really athletic dudes who probably wouldn't have cut it in the WWE because they aren't big, they aren't muscular. They aren't necessarily as charismatic as the kind of guys you see in WWE. But they put on good matches. They put on X Division matches. They flipped around. They killed themselves for entertainment. They put on the kind of matches that you kind of see in indie shows, like these really, really high risk, really high flying matches. And they were physical. It was good stuff, you know. And it was kind of what I said before, where I said, what if we just had guys just go out and wrestle? A lot of times that was what you had. You had guys kind of doing lucha style. You had guys, they would bring in international superstars kind of wrestling a Japanese style. And it was good, You saw a lot of stuff. It was kind of like back in ECW when ECW again rarely told those good stories, and for the most part the matches were okay, but they brought forward these new styles, new matches, and they had these guys who were willing to just brutalize themselves for entertainment. And you saw that, and you appreciated that. You saw the sacrifice, and you saw the will to entertain that these wrestlers had, and they went out there and they killed themselves over this. And I'm not saying wrestlers, even WWE wrestlers, don't hurt themselves, they don't sacrifice, they don't do this kind of stuff. But what I'm saying is, these guys want to entertain. They really do. Like, even the worst wrestler out there wants to go out there and they want to tell a good story. They want people to cheer. They want people to boo. They want people to get involved. They want to go out and they put good matches on. Like, nobody goes out there and is like, I'm going to put on a piece of shit match. Well, okay, maybe Jake the Snake Roberts did, but, like, maybe Goldberg does, but, like, whatever. So, but TNA used to be about that kind of thing, where like they'd be like, "This is stupid," but man, that AJ Styles can go. Man, that Amazing Red can go. Like Shark Boy, even like Shark Boy, get out there, fucking kill himself. You had Samoa Joe. You had Joe, who was not being kidnapped by ninjas. Joe was just fucking killing people. Stunningly athletic, stunningly dexterous, fast. Like you couldn't believe this guy could move the way he does, and you saw these matches that were amazing. And now. You got, you bring Vince Russo in, you bring fucking Hogan in, you bring Bischoff in, and like, I don't know why they were saying this like it was a good thing. Like even when I reviewed the Good Impact show, my point during that one was, okay, this was better than most, but what are you cheering for? Like, what are you looking forward to? We're actually proud of the fact that we're basically restarting WCW at its worst. We're bringing back the NWO. We're bringing back Bischoff, Hogan. We're bringing back the Nasty Boys. All these assholes who sunk TNA, who put on the shitty WCW shows that caused people to turn the channel. And we're like, we're bringing it back. We're bringing back WCW. And people are like, yay. No, it's not yay. It's terrible. It was terrible. That's why you stopped watching it in the first place. It's because Vince Russo fucking wiped the ass with a wrestling show and you went to the WWF. WWF not putting on good shows by any stretch, but they're still fucking masterful in comparison to, like, as much as I bitched about Matt Stryker, like, week in and week out, saying the stupidest things I've ever heard commentators say, trust me, I would take that any day over Impact. So bad. I have no clue why they're still on the air, why they still think they can compete with Monday Night. Vince McMahon is an asshole. He really tells bad stories. He's got a fixation with really steroided up muscular dudes who can't talk. He tells the same stories over and over again, but at least he does what he does relatively well. It's not Impact. I've got to do something. There's got to be what was it, Dragon Gate or Ring of Honor? This is so bad. Okay, I'm wrapping this up. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me squirm. I hope you enjoyed watching me just lose my goddamn mind. I'm surprised I didn't break down more than I did. You know what it was? I kept stopping. I had to stop. If you were to watch me, if I were to do this thing where I would it was 2 hours uncut, you watching me watching the show. If I didn't have this pause feature, if I didn't have the ability to turn off the remote as I was just fucking losing it, you would. I would have been. I couldn't have done it. I could not have. It is. I will say that it is impossible to sit and watch Impact unbroken 2 hours beginning to end, because this shit is so stupid. You got to get up and you got to take a walk. When I lost it that one time, I got up. I just went up and down the stairs. I completely went into a fugue state. I had to walk. for like 10 minutes. Until the stupid, I calmed down a little bit. You know, when I said I was getting drinks. I'm not wearing pants. No, I am. I got shorts on. Impact. Sorry. That's all I got.